So you're going to drive for Uber Eats in 2025. Obviously, you want to make as much money as possible. Good news, this is going to be your complete guide. All of the tips and tricks that I've learned after driving for Uber Eats for years and what we just saw on the platform. This is going to be the most updated information. And speaking of, I want to look into that. What was just announced that you should know if you are going to drive on this platform in 2025? The first thing that is a brand new earnings mode that Uber Eats did not have just until now. And it's actually, at least at the time of filming this, still being beta tested in marketplaces. It's that new. This is flat rates. How flat rate earnings work. Your earnings will be based on active hours, which means the hourly rates will be applied toward the portion of an hour that a trip takes from acceptance rate to completion. I think simply said, you're paid from the moment you accept it to when you drop it off. And yes, this is exactly like Earn by Time on DoorDash. You will also keep any applicable promotions and 100% of customer tips. And it says check the Opportunity Center. You know how you go in your profile on the main menu, you click the 3-line menu, whatever it is, you go in Opportunities, that's where this is going to be. Now, it's a little different than DoorDash. On DoorDash, I just look at my home screen and there it asks, do I want to drive on the traditional earn per offer, or I switch to the earn by time mode? At least while they're piloting this flat rates program on Uber Eats, that's not how they're doing it. So you're going to sign up for a shift on flat rates. And we see an example here, earn $20 per active hour plus tips. So it's not the entire shift. I'm not just saying, okay, I'm just driving on flat rates. I'm signing up to say, okay, in this example, 5 p.m. until 8 p.m., I'm driving on flat rates, which in this case is $20 per active hour. And I'll tell you this on flat rates, please let me know down below in the comments if you have flat rates. I don't have it yet at the time of filming here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I would say, just like DoorDash, to try it if it's high enough, because any delays, restaurant delays, traffic, whatever it is, if it's high enough, I'm still getting paid for that active time when I'm actually on an assignment. Now, DoorDash says tips may be lower when you're on their earn by time. Uber Eats at least isn't saying that right now. But keep in mind, same thing with DoorDash, there's a limit to how many times you can decline in an hour. Uber Eats to power restaurant delivery on Instacart. This partnership gives Instacart customers easy access to food delivery from hundreds of thousands of Uber Eats restaurant partners across the US. Basically, just think of this. Think of what Uber Eats did with Postmates. Uber at large will say. Uber acquired Postmates, so Postmates still operates independently, but it's actually powered by Uber. Uber is also helping with GoPuff deliveries. This is basically the same thing. Uber is going to source some new clients, hopefully using the Instacart platform. What that means for you is you might see, hopefully, more and more order volume as Uber is sourcing more and more new clients. And then later in the year, listen to this, arguably the biggest changes that came to both Uber Eats and Uber. It was from this Only on Uber event in September. Uber announced their first ever app redesign since 2018. I was kind of surprised they haven't really revamped the app since then, so look for that. I still don't have it. Let me know if you have the new Uber Eats driver app. But we're talking about Uber Eats here, and they said specifically more earnings opportunities for couriers. We've redesigned the in-app work hub so it's easier than ever for everyone to sign up for new opportunities, whether it's a streamlined process for shopping for grocery orders or deliveries needing insulated bags. We now ask customers to provide more detailed information about their house or building, including photos, to ensure a swift delivery. And I gotta say, that does help me when I'm DoorDash dashing, because I can just verify this is the house, this is exactly where they want to deliver it, especially if a house, let's say, has a main entrance possibly, and then a side door, you're not exactly sure where to deliver it. And then next, if you're going to drive for Uber Eats in 2025, the first thing you should do is follow helpful resources like this. Consider subscribing. We'd love to have you as a team member here. But Uber announced in October of 2024 this preferred delivery program. It's a program that's based in parts on the Couriers acceptance rating. And there's different tiers based on the acceptance rating. And then you'll get benefits in part based on your acceptance rating, which sounds, yes, it is exactly like DoorDash Dasher Rewards. You can see here on the side-by-side, you need a certain acceptance rate, you need a certain completion rate, or Uber Eats calls it cancellation rate. And all of that adds up to the benefits of getting priority to higher paying offers. Again, exactly like DoorDash Dasher Rewards. Here's what I'll tell you for this: the strategy of how to make the most money on preferred deliveries. Not Dasher Rewards, but it's kind of the same thing. Be very careful with the math behind the driving, because I'm going for it because I'm one of the first marketplaces to get preferred deliveries, but I started at 8% acceptance rating. And Uber Eats said, well, for November, you just need 30% acceptance rates, not the eventual 50. So the shifts just to get that AR from 8%, and then I reached, what was it, 17% or 15% or something, and then it's going to increase to like 20-some%, and eventually 30%, and finally 50%. I feel like, and the numbers kind of supported this on Dasher Rewards, you're going to be having a lot of really low paying shifts just to get there, just for the promise of higher paying offers. Now, you can track your earnings, certainly, and you should for tax purposes, just your mileage, your earnings, any expenses ideally. The tipping would be nice. How often am I getting tipped? So 2 resources for you, linked down below in the description: a spreadsheet version that I host, and then a channel partner option, an app-based version with the Solo app. Let me give you an overall strategy, though, as an Uber Eats driver in 2025, considering all of this. The best driver strategy for the basic offer, like 1 pickup and 1 drop off, is at a restaurant. That has not changed. I want you to ideally multi-app, drive it on different apps at the same time so you can select the best order and look at the basics that I teach you here. If you don't know that, again, consider subscribing. If you're already subscribed, thank you. It is the pay per mile, the dollars to mile ratio, I call it, the pay per time, like the pay per hour. So the dollars to time ratio, how much am I getting paid and how much time is it really going to take? Because these apps, they'll estimate, well, it should be 5.2 miles. That's been shown, like the estimates for the mileage isn't always accurate. Same thing with the time. So it's going to take 20 some minutes, but your marketplace the best. Really, is it going to take 20 minutes based on where I'm going and that restaurant that I'm gonna have to deal with? Also looking at positioning, and it's the same thing almost with a stacked order. Let's talk about that. So 2 or more assignments for 1 driver. It can be 2 assignments at one time. It can be 3 assignments at one time. I'm looking at the same things, basically: the pay per mile, the pay per time, the restaurants. Do I have any problems there before? Is it going to be super backed up? Is it drive-through only? And then positioning, which is so important. I want to emphasize that. The positioning of the ending destination. The pay can be great. It can pay, my minimum is $1.75 paid out per mile. That's my goal for you. If you're doing $2 to $3 plus, that's fantastic. But if I'm getting $1.95 a mile, which is great, but it's pulling me super far away, even though the pay is good, just think about what are you going to do next? So I can stay out there. Uber Eats, the marketplace is not like DoorDash. It's not broken down into different smaller zones. I could stay out there with no real issue. Am I going to be busy out there? Or eventually, am I going to have to drive back in? And most likely you would, just to get back home. Let's talk about shop and deliver briefly. The grocery shop and deliver, and then all of the other general shop and deliver, like alcohol, retail, and convenience stores. Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. The dollars to mile, dollars to time, the positioning, sure. But with shop and deliver, think about item efficiency. Time is almost more important on shop and deliver. If I'm doing a Target, if I'm doing a local grocery store, if I'm doing a Rite Aid, is it 5 items, 8, 12 items? Admittedly, I don't see a ton of high item count shops, at least here in Pittsburgh. You can comment down below. Do you typically see like 5 and under shops? Or 5 to 10 items, or more than 10 item shops? I'm curious. But it's the time in that store. Like, yes, I could be making the $1.80 a mile. It's quoted to take, let's say, $23 an hour. Decent. I always want you to hit $25 plus if possible. Obviously, that's not always possible. But they're quoting it's going to take, like, let's say 30 minutes. But if I'm shopping in a large grocery store, whatever it is, especially now going into the holidays at the time of filming this, is it really going to take that long? Do I know that store, the layout, the items? I'm going to have to communicate with customers with any item substitutions. And that's all easy enough. Like, I've done a decent amount of grocery retail, just general shop and delivers. It's fine if you can be efficient. But I've also had it when I was newer to like grocery shopping on Instacart or Shipt, let's say. I had no idea this grocery store. I'm not familiar with the items. It was a specialty grocery store. I actually just had this on a restaurant depot on DoorDash where I had no idea how this store lays out stuff. So DoorDash, or in this case, Uber Eats, they'll say, hey, it should only take 25 minutes. It's fantastic. It will take 25 minutes if you know where you're going. If you don't, then you may be backtracking, going up and down the aisles. Of course, you can ask for help. I just want you to think about that before you accept a shop and deliver. If you can be efficient, then sure, look at the pay metrics if it makes sense. If you don't think you can be efficient, keep that in mind. Also keep in mind, you will get better over time. If you want to do the grocery or any kind of shop and deliver, you will get better over time. So for 2025, the fundamentals have not changed. Looking at the mileage, the time, the restaurants, any problems there, etc., and then the positioning. But then new features like flat rates, if it comes to your marketplace, we're going to be seeing a completely redesigned Uber driver app that's rideshare and mobility in 2025. That preferred delivery program. So think of this, even if it's not worth it for you, and I'm imagining based on the numbers, I tested this on DoorDash as well. You can comment down below your experience with the preferred deliveries or Dasher rewards. Even if you don't go for it, other drivers will. So where does that put you in the priority to get these higher paying offers? So do this, learn the fundamentals, and then learn what's coming, because some of this stuff is still in beta programs. And I guarantee you we're going to see even newer things in 2025. Using these strategies together and knowing your marketplace, because I don't know your marketplace better than you. You know your marketplace best. That's is what's going to help you make the most money driving for Uber Eats in 2025.